Hello. Today we are reviewing for our exam that will start Tuesday and Wednesday, Euphoria test. We're going to combine like terms. So to be a like term, they have to have the same variable with the same exponent. Notice that we have a plus in the middle. So we have 3ab plus 5ab. So simply 3 plus 5 is 8. So you have 8ab. When you add, the variable does not change. 5ac minus 6ac equals a negative 1. So you just do 5 minus 6. Negative 1ac. Now the 1 is not necessary. If you do not have a 1 in front, it's still the same. Negative 7 BC and negative 3 BC. So when these signs are the same, you add and keep the sign. So negative 7 minus negative 3 is negative 10. And again, the variables stay the same. That's it for number 1. Number 2, perimeter of the figure below. This is a trapezoid, but all the sides are different. So we're just gonna, again, add our like terms. So we've got an x and a constant. So we're gonna add all our x's together. Notice we've got fractions, no big deal. We can do that by hand, of course, finding a like common denominator, or you can just simply put it in your handy dandy calculator. So I'm going to do, let's see, 2 plus 3, that's easy. 2 plus 3 plus, we got 15/8, so alpha x, 15 over 8, move over, and then plus 15 over 16, alpha x, gives us our fraction, 15 over 16. Press enter, it gives me a huge fraction, and it is, see if you can see it a little bit, it's 125 over 16x. And then we have to add the constants, and they happen to all be fractions. So 1/4 minus 1/4, that's easy. These two are going to cancel out, and so I have 9/16 minus 1/8. And negative 1/8 is the same thing as negative 2 over 16. So 9 minus 2 is 7. So plus 7/16. I'm going to go ahead and put in the calculator. Alpha x, 9 over, 9. And I've got a letter. Let's clear. There we go. 9 over 16 minus, delete, move over, then minus alpha x, 1/8. Press enter, and I get 7/16. And that's my constant, and I'm done. We're also going to do some dividing. We did not do a lot of this on Get More Math. Unfortunately, the problems that they had available were not monomials, they were binomials. They had 2 terms, so you have to factor first. But we have unfactored, so it's kind of the same idea. So we're going to divide. If you had 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, that equals 9. And divided by 3. So 9 divided by 3 equals 3. So if you have the number squared divided by the number, you end up with the number. So that's the same for this one. X squared divided by x equals x. And so when you divide, you actually subtract exponents. And we'll go over a little bit more of this during exponential. So this is x to the first power, not -1, but to the first power. And if they're, let me rewrite, so x squared over x. So if there's not an exponent, the exponent is 1. And so 2 minus 1 equals 1. So x squared divided by x is just x. So what is the result of that divided by 2x? So you're going to put the 2x on the bottom on both terms. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. And x squared divided by x is just x minus, the x's cancel. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And that's it for that. Number 4, I just have another division. 5x squared minus 25x plus 5. And we're divided by negative 5x. So I have x squared. 5 divided by negative 5 is going to give me just -1. X squared divided by x is x. So negative x is what I have left over for the first term. And then I'm going to take the second term. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 25 divided by 5 is 5. And the x cancels. And then the last term, 5 divided by negative 5 is a -1. But where's the x at? The x is actually on the bottom. Reminder 1 through 4 on your test will be multiple choice. You'll be able to see it. Same for the rest of them. Number 5, we're going to distribute. So distribute means to multiply. So we're going to take the 6 and we're going to multiply it to each term. So 3 times 6 is 18. And then put the variable next to it. 6 times -5 is -30. So they're going to give you this, and they want you to find this. So you have to undistribute, or you have to distribute the answer provided and see if you get the same thing. Or, as long as it only has one variable, then I could put this in y equals, and this in y1 and this in y2, and the table's better match. If they don't, I've done something wrong. Then -6 times 2m squared is -12m squared. And then -6 times -2 is going to be a positive 12m. And then 2a. So if you a times a is a squared. A times another letter, you just stick them next to each other. So 2 times 3 is 6. A times a is a squared. 2 times -3 is -6. And I have 2 letters, A, then B. And typically you write them in alphabetical order. And then 2 times 5 is 10, and the A next to it. The next one's kind of like the one above. -5 times 2 is -10. And you have C and D. And again, typically you write them in alphabetical order. Negative times negative is a positive. 4 times 5 is 20. And D times D is D squared. Negative times negative is a positive. And 2 times 5 is 10D. Number 6, we're going to distribute and combine like terms. So 5x, so 5 divided by 5, the 5 ends up canceling for the first term. And I have 6x times x, which will give me 6x squared. And I still have to distribute to that one. So 5x times -2 is -10x. And then the next one, it's going to be positive plus 4 3/2. Now, of course, you can put that in the calculator. Alpha x for the 3/2, but 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 times 3 is 6. So 6x, and 4 times 5 is 20. And then I'm going to combine the two middle terms. So my final answer is 6x squared. Negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4x plus 20. So again, I can put this in y1, this in y2, and my table should match. And again, we're dealing with multiple choice, so all you have to do is put your answers in your calculator, and you can figure out which one it is without multiplying. I would prefer you to be able to multiply. 7 and 8 you cannot do with a calculator. And basically for both, we're solving for y. And why do you have to be able to do that? Well, one, our calculator has y equals. You have to be able to put it in the calculator. So this is your parent function, ax plus by equals c. It's in standard form. Both of them are, and we're solving for y. Same steps for both. One just has less numbers, but the letters all represent numbers. So if solving for y, so I need this term by itself. And if it's positive, I'm going to move the ax to the other side. If ax is positive over here, it's going to be negative over here. So minus ax. And then I'm going to divide by the coefficient of y, if it has one. I'm going to divide by b. And you can write it as separate or as one. So this can be y equals c minus ax over b. It can be y equals negative ax over b plus c over b. Both would be correct as long as you can't reduce. If you can reduce, it has to be separate so that you can reduce. Number 8, this time y is negative, so to avoid dividing by a negative, I'm actually going to move both of these. When you move it, it changes signs. So 2x minus 7, because it was positive, equals positive 5y. And then again, I'm dividing by the coefficient of y. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. And since 5 doesn't go into either one of those, I can do it as one big or as separate. So y will equal this. And again, we're dealing with multiple choice. Now this one, you can actually put in y equals, but you can't put the original one. So, number 9, function or not a function. So to be a function, x's cannot repeat. So if the x's repeat, it's not a function. So when it comes to mapping, if one number goes to two different places, it's not a function. So A tricks us a little bit because it has -1 written twice. Normally you're supposed to simplify that and only have it written once. But since it's written twice and it's the same number and it goes to two different places, it is not a function. B doesn't cheat. The 6 goes to two different places. So it is not a function. C, every number is different and they're not going to two places. So it is a function. D has to pass the vertical line test. Vertical line, it can't cross more than once. So notice E, if I draw a vertical line, it's going to cross more than once. D is going to continue to get wider and wider forever. So this one is a function, and this one is not a function. Okay, number 1. what is the range of this function? So, reminder, you have domain and range. So domain is your x, range is your y, and x goes to left to right, and range goes up and down. This one is a start, and since I'm doing range, I'm going to look at the y. I'm at -4, so it's going to be y is greater than or equal to -4, and that's written in words. The symbols would be y is greater than equal to -4, but they want you to be able to write it in words. So it's a drop-down menu, so you have choices. You just have to click on it. Number 2 is a start and a stop. Notice that they're both open circles. And so if we were writing this as an equation, we're doing domain. We're going to put x in the middle, and it's going to be less than and less than. And it goes from least to greatest. So that would be, x would be here at -3. So this is 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice up and down it's going by 2, so you have to watch. So we're at -3 to 2. So in words, x is greater than -3. X is greater than -3, but less than -2. So you have to read from the middle. X is greater than -3, but less than 2. Okay. 2 more. Number 3, the domain and range for this. So this is a line. So the domain and range for this function is all real numbers. And the symbol for all real numbers is a double-legged R. And so all real numbers. Because it's going to go up and down forever and left and right forever, because it is it's a line. And then one more example of a start and stop, and we're going to write it in words again. So first we're going to be doing domain. So we're going to take those dots and go down. So we have -6 to 1. So notice they have 2 of them. That's -6 to 1. But they're both closed circles, so they're both going to be equal. So that is B. So in words, start at the middle, so it's open to the x on the negative. So x is greater than or equal to -6. X is greater than or equal to -6, but less than or equal to 6. And that is it for the review. Thank you.